Tollivers were descended from royal houses in England identified by the elegant, prickly-stemmed flower that served as their emblems. The Warwicks of South Carolina hailed from the House of York, represented by the white rose. The Tollivers, the House of Lancaster, symbolized by the red. Though neighbors and close friends, neither grew in their gardens the other's badge of allegiance to their aristocratic roots. This morning, "How do your roses grow?" was not intended to ask the condition of her beloved plants she'd nurtured back to health after months away tending her husband during his illness in a Charleston hospital, but the nature of her spirits now that he had been in his grave these 4 weeks. "Hard to tell," she called back. "Their endurance will depend upon the coming weather." They had exchanged these entendres since the boys were children, and Elizabeth had discovered Jeremy Warwick's quick, ironic, but never mocking wit. She adored him, tall and strapping, in contrast to her slim, sinewy son of equal height. Jeremy was the youngest of 3 brothers whose father owned the adjacent cotton plantation called Meadowlands. United by their family pecking order and the commonalities of age, heritage, and interests, he and Silas made ideal friends. A relationship Elizabeth had been grateful for, since Silas and his brother had warred from the time her younger son could talk. Jeremy's bright pleasure at seeing her dimmed in his gaze, indicating that he understood her meaning. "I'm afraid the weather can't always be what we wish," he said, with an apologetic inclination of his head that confirmed to Elizabeth why he had come. "Did the letter arrive that we were expecting?" Silas asked. "Finally. It's in the pouch, and one from Lucas Tanner. He and his group made it to the Black Waxy." Elizabeth was of no mind to go inside. If they wished to speak privately, they could adjourn somewhere out of earshot. But she hoped they did not. Sometimes the only way she knew what was going on in her family was to eavesdrop shamelessly or enlist one of the servants to do it. She heard Silas call into the house for Lazarus to bring coffee. Good. They meant to collude on the porch in the fineness of the fall morning. "Will I be happy with the letter's contents?" Silas asked. "Most of them," his friend replied. Elizabeth knew what they were about. They were now beginning, in earnest, to fulfill the dream they had shared and talked about for years. As youngest sons, both had grown up aware they were not likely to be the sole heirs of their family's cotton plantations upon the deaths of their fathers. In Jeremy's case, that reality would have presented no problem. He got along well with his 2 brothers, and his father doted on him and would have seen he received his fair share of the estate. Jeremy simply wanted to possess his own plantation and run it as he saw fit. Silas's fraternal and paternal situation was entirely different. From his birth, Benjamin Tolliver had favored Morris, his firstborn, as heir of Queen's crown. "It's the way of it," he would say to Elizabeth, never having entirely shaken off the principle of the law of primogeniture, a throwback to his English heritage that decreed the eldest son should inherit the family property. In South Carolina, the law had been abolished in 1779. But other prejudices factored in. Benjamin and Morris saw eye to eye on everything. And it wasn't a matter of son wishing to please father. Morris genuinely shared his father's views on every subject from religion to politics. Whereas Silas's took a different, sometimes incendiary